a large ice cream container. So you're going to be making quite a few, okay, so that it needs to be large. You can't just have little tiny containers, okay, there's going to be lots to bring. So most importantly, write down, highlight the take home, highlight the bring a container to take them home in. Okay. Now the other thing is, once again, like I said last time, you need puff pastry. Okay, it doesn't have to be Pampers. It can be any pastry you like, but it needs to be puff. Please don't get the butter puff pastry, really hard to work with, but just normal puff pastry. Okay? Alright, so you're going to need mince. So what we're going to do is put your whole packet of mince in your bowl. Put your onion. Now your onion, you can just use shallots if you like, but this was just a brown onion that all I did was peel and I grated it. Okay, so it's nice and fine, so you don't have any big chunks in it. Okay, can you please write down that I want you to do all your chopping at home? Okay, that way it's much easier when you're in class to do it. So can you do all the chopping? So chop up your mushrooms, grate your carrot. To stop your carrot from going brown, just put a little bit of lemon juice in it so it doesn't turn black, okay? So then you're going to grate your carrot, grate your onion, grate your potato, same thing, put a little bit of lemon juice in there so it stops it from going brown, okay? Do all of that chopping and grating at home. Alright, and then in that, I'm just going to add, just for a bit of colour and for a bit of flavour, I'm going to put a little bit of capsicum, okay, because at the moment it needs a bit more colour. If you did your spring onions, I would have already had the green, okay, so just chop those up really finely. Can you please do the chopping yourself, okay? Don't get your mum to do it.
So maybe 1/4 or a half?
Just a half of one. Yep. And make sure it's nice and little, because we're going to be making lots of little pinwheels. And if it's big and it's got big chunks in it, then then it will take up most of that pinwheel. So you want to have lots of little flavours in it. Okay, so you're going to put your capsicum in there. Then you can put some mushrooms. Okay, keep the stalks on. Okay, the stalks you don't have to chop off the stalks. They've got all the flavour as well. Don't know why people chop off stalks. Okay, so and just when you put them on the board like that, just keep your hands up the top. Okay, keep your tip of your knife downwards, and run it backwards and forwards. Mushrooms are so good for you. They are full of vitamin B. They used to call mushrooms poor man's meat, okay, because of the vitamin B and the fact that they have got that nutrition in it. So just chop that backwards and forwards. Once again, just so it's nice and small, and it fits into each pinwheel. All of this, this looks like a lot of mushroom, but the fact is, once it's cooked, it actually will shrink down to probably about half the quantity. Okay, so that goes in there like that. Mushrooms have got a lot of water in them, that's why they're so big. Now, in goes the flavour. So you've got a sachet of French onion soup. Okay, so you can just get a sachet of that. You're going to put the whole lot in there. That's going to give you some flavour. And like I just did there, you don't even need any scissors in hospitality, just use the tip of the knife. Okay? So the whole sachet goes in there for flavour. You're going to put some pepper in there as well. I'm going to put a little teaspoon of chilli. For some flavour as well. it just tastes like plain old mix. You're going to put a pinch of salt, and then comes all the other flavours. So you can use a little bit of sweet chilli sauce if it's open. And if you're going to bring these from home, you don't need to bring a whole 3 big bottles like this. Just get a little container and just pour all your sauces in the one container, okay? And then they can all just go in. So, some chili sauce, some barbecue sauce. I think this one's open. Oops. Just a good quantity. And some tomato sauce. Alright, now, who here, when they were little, loved playing with Play-Doh? And is a really tactile person? Do you know what tactile is? Tactile is when you like touching things. Here, you can try and spoon and do it all with a spoon, but it doesn't get it all mixed well. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your hands in there, okay, and you're going to mix all of these ingredients up together. Okay, so, and that way you're going to get all of those flavours through. Okay, so squeeze that through. Try and keep it in your bowl if you can. So that means that when you start this process, choose the biggest bowl that you can that's in your bottom drawer. Okay, so use your biggest bowl. So bring it all from the bottom. Okay, and the one hand can keep it all in so it doesn't squish, come out the top. Okay, so make sure you get everything from the bottom of your mixture, and then just squish it all through. Okay. And then you've got all your colours there and it's all mixed properly. Okay, that's something that a spoon can't do very effectively. Right? Now once you've done that, just off your hands and wash your hands. Hospitality is certainly a very tactile subject. You have to get your hands dirty. Then after you've got all of that together, make sure your bench is nice and clean. Like that. And who here has made sushi before? Yeah, well this has got a similar concept to sushi. Okay? You all make sure you put baking paper on your tray so it saves washing up weight, because otherwise it's going to this way you just throw that away. Okay, so when you're doing this one, most importantly, leave the plastic sheet on, because that's essentially going to be your sushi mat. Okay, so that goes down on your mat. This one here, you're going to divide your mixture into 3. Okay, so you're bringing 3 sheets of puff pastry. So you're going to make 3 different sheets of wheels. Okay, so divide your mixture into 3, and you're going to take one portion of the 3 and put it onto your puff pastry. Now, just like sushi, what you're going to do is have the sheet that's sticking out closest to you, okay? And just with like sushi, you're going to have a little gap at the front and quite a large gap at the back, okay? And you're going to bring the mixture right to the very edges. So bring it to the very edge, the side edges, but not to the edge closest to you and not to the edge furthest away. So you're going to have about 1 centimetre closest to your edge and at least 2 centimetres further away. And you'll find out this in a minute. So, but right to the very edge, like that. So can everybody see that? Yeah? And the mixture, you want it to be nice and even. Okay, so just like if you're making sushi, okay, you'd have all your rice, and then what you do is you put your capsicum there and your avocado and your salmon or whatever you're going to do. But this one you don't need all of that. Okay, then when you get to this stage is you're going to grab your plastic sheet. Okay, you're going to fold that 1 centimetre over, and that's going to start the beginning of your pinwheel. Okay, like that. Then you're going to use this plastic sheet, and you're going, like you do with a sushi mat, and fold that over and keep lifting that blue sheet closest to you. And see how as you're rolling it, see how the meat's moving further away? Okay, that's why you need to have a nice big gap there. Okay, but at the end you still need to have some pastry that can join the two together. Okay, so keep rolling that like that. It's still moving it further away, but hopefully I'll still have 1 centimetre at the end that will catch. Okay, and this way, keeping the plastic mat on it, it means that it stays nice and clean as well. Okay, then as you roll it, okay, and see how I've joined those two together now. Okay, and that is my pinwheel. Okay, and that's what you're going to be making. So if I lift it, clean hands. You'll be able to see how that's got the pinwheel in it now? Okay, and as that cooks, that's going to puff up and I'll give it.
Do you cut it before you put
I
it in?
am going to show you now. Yep, absolutely. So what you're going to do now is you're going to cut it around about the width of your thumb. Okay, so which is around about like 1.5 centimetres. And you're going to hold on to the edges of your pinwheel. Then you're going to lift it and it's going to go on your tray like that. Okay, so around about 1.5 centimetres. Try and keep it as round as possible. Okay, don't go squish like that, and what will happen, it will all go flat. Try and keep it round, so you're using the edges of your fingers to keep that roundness, and then you're going to put it on your tray. Okay, use the side of your knife to actually transport it onto your tray like that. Lifting it each time, making sure that you're not putting them side by side, they're not touching on your tray, because puff pastry is going to poof out and they're going to get bigger. Okay? So about 1.5 centimetres. Make sure that they are all the same thickness, because if one of them's fat and one of them's skinny, the skinny one's going to burn and the fat one's going to be still raw, and you can't afford that, not when you're cooking with meat. Okay? So make sure they're all the same width and they're all the same thickness. Okay? Like that. Put them evenly on your tray. And this one I should be able to get two more out of. Alright, so, and then that has to go in the oven. And that last one might get a little bit darker than the rest because it's skinny and alrighty, so let me show you one more. A couple more. So see if you can start off with a nice clean bench so that your mixture's done. So don't be tempted to take the blue mat off because you need it. Okay? That edge piece is closest to me because that's what I'm going to grab hold of. Okay? And now you do the next third of your mixture. Okay. How close do I bring it to myself?
2 centimeters.
So 1 centimetre closest to me. What about further away? 2 centimetres. What do I do with the edges?
Don't put mix on it. Put mixture as close as you can.
Mixture as close to the edge as possible because I want the edges, because that's going to be a part of my pinwheel as I cut it. the mixture needs to go right to the very edge, okay? But I want 1 centimetre just so I can tuck it over and begin the pinwheel closest to me. But because the mixture is going to move as I go further out, I need to make that 2 because I know it's going to move and I need to still give an edge. So I'm going to go straight right to the very edges. So that way those edge pieces have got mixture in it. And about 1 centimetre closest to me, just so I can tuck that first bit over, and yet not too much mixture at the back because I know that that's going to move as I roll it. Okay, and keeping it nice and even. That way all of my pinwheels will be the same thickness and will cook evenly. Alrighty, I tuck that over. Hold on to that blue plastic. Lift it up and begin to roll. So as I lift, it's rolling. Like that. And if my mixture starts popping out, then I just squish it back in again. Take that plastic off. Okay. And how thick do I want them?
Your thumb.
About my thumb or 1.5 centimetres. Hey. Now, if you want to do chicken mince or lamb mince or veal mince or whatever, you're more than welcome. Okay? Just that beef mince is just the easiest, but you're more than welcome to have a different flavour. You don't have to put chilli in it if you don't want to. I just throw it in there because I like a little bit more flavour. And the last one's always the trickiest because it's the thinnest. If they get a bit out of shape, what you can do is you can just play with it a little bit like that and just bring it back into shape again. Okay. Can you see how I made that one round again? This one's a little bit dodgy in shape. That's okay, I just make it a bit round like that. Okay. Alrighty, and then you should have enough mixture for just one more. Now can you see there is a lot of pinwheels here, okay? So you must bring a big enough container to take them home. Or what you could do now is you could make a couple of trays or one tray at school and bring this mixture home. Okay, just make sure you've got a cooler bag and you've got an ice brick with you, and you can take the rest of the mixture home with that, and you can make them fresh at home. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah? So bring another container to just bring that extra mixture home. Okay, so is there any questions? Yeah.
The potato, on the ingredients it says that there's potato.
Yeah.
How do you cut it?
All I did was peel it and then I grated it. Yeah. texture. That way I haven't got any real big chunks of potato. Potato needs to be grated because it does take a long time to cook. When it's grated, it's going to cook really easily in this situation. Yeah? Okay. So what we'll do now, actually we don't need to put your chairs away because I've got another day. We might just, I'm going to finish this. If you guys can come and wash up these ingredients, by the time you finish doing that, I should be able to get these out and you should be able to have one for morning.